Hello and welcome to this week's edition of From Me to We with Pastor and First G. I am First Gentleman Damion Parks Weekly. This is my husband, Pastor Romell Parks Weekly.
Hello.
We're glad to be back with you on this week. On this week, I said it again, didn't I?
Always.
I almost got it out.
On today. Yesterday.
On yesterday.
Okay.
So this week's topic will be about still concentrating on relationship issues. And this is a little bit more individually personal. I would say you can be in a relationship and have these concerns, but quite naturally, I think this is really towards those of you who are single, possibly just beginning dating, that sort of thing. But it applies to everyone across the board. So we're going to talk about identity crisis. So how do you see yourself? How do you fit into your dating scenario, your beginning relationship, or how you see yourself before you even get to those points?
And that's ultimately what, identity is. It's how you see yourself, and then, the words and actions that you use to convey how you see yourself. Right. So it's not just a matter of what you think on the inside, but what you're projecting toward other people. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes we think people misunderstand us, people don't understand us, but the question is, what are you putting out there? Right. What are you projecting? Right. Because usually what you project is what's on the inside of you, and that's what they give you back. Yeah. One of the problems, though, with that is oftentimes we're projecting something false in order to accommodate a lack of identity or a lack of confidence in our identity. Right. So we're, projecting arrogance or projecting conceit when really there's a lot that needs to be fixed inside of us so that we don't actually have to do that.
And I think we, especially in the gay and lesbian community, I can't say so much as a lesbian, but I know on the gay side, gentlemen, we have a tendency to put forth that grandeur attitude.
Oh, yes.
That, I'm wonderful, I'm great, I'm fabulous, I'm grand. I really wish we could remove the word grand altogether, because honestly...
And catty, too.
Cat is very catty. Catty.
We got to rule that.
We got to get that one.
Not just the word, the attitude.
The whole attitude, the whole concept of catty. Yeah. But definitely that whole grandeur attitude that you've arrived and you are somebody. And anyone that has to tell you that or that presents that all the time, most of the time, that's just an insecurity issue.
Absolutely, because if you really see, when you really are there, you don't have to tell people you're there. They know you're there just by your presence. Right. And so, people who spend time trying to force people to acknowledge their there-ness really aren't there, because the fact that they're trying to prove it or force it demonstrates, And you would think that we know this by now. I think that subconsciously we kind of get that, but it still doesn't play out in how we live. We're still doing the same stuff that psychologists have already told us about 40, 50 years ago, and we should be past it, but we're still circling the same drain.
Absolutely. But I think, a big part of it is, we're so afraid to lose our identity. So, you are definitely, before going into the relationship or the dating scenario, you've got to see yourself as more than just the relationship. Yes. Granted, yes, you are important, you are a valued person, but you don't want to do it over the top, You don't want to lose yourself. You want to keep who you are as a person, but who you are as a person has to gel into the situation. Right. You can't expect that person to just conform to your world. You've got to work on you and how you can easily be together to make it work together.
And a relationship should not, I was going to say does not, but sometimes it does. Yeah. A relationship should not define you as a person. You should have your definition, we're talking about identity, you should have your identity, your definition as a person outside of the relationship. Absolutely. And so even when it comes to I need to find myself, relationships don't help you find yourself. Relationships help people who haven't found themselves become somebody else. Absolutely. And that's what we're talking about now and hoping to prevent with this discussion. Sure. Is you don't go into a relationship expecting to find yourself. The relationship should not define who you are. Sure. You should know who you are before even entering a relationship. I always like to use the mathematics. It's multiplication. 1 times 1 equals 1. Right. But 1/2 times 1/2, not only does it not equal 1, it doesn't mean equal 1/2. It's 1/4. 1/4. So you got to be whole in order to go into a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. And then what you don't want to do is don't suppress your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals. If anything, you need to be able to bring those things to the table with your partner, your husband, your spouse, and even your serious dating person, you've got to work together to see what you can do. You may have to tweak those dreams and aspirations, because I think we're both a witness to that.
Yeah.
I had some aspirations, some goals, and it's not that they've gone away. I may not be going the path that I thought I was going to go, but God has just revealed to me even more so that it's just going to be that much better, that this wasn't necessarily the time. I had some growing to do a little bit more myself, and then grow with you, and vice versa. So
that's ultimately what it is. All, not just relationships, all circumstances of life
absolutely
should produce growth and change.
Absolutely.
And a relationship is no different. So we're not saying don't look for avenues of growth and adjustment and things like that.
Sure.
We're just saying don't let the situation overwhelm you and steal away your personhood.
So you don't want to get into the point where you get upset because if somehow or another it doesn't work out, or things are not going your way, that you get upset because you feel like you've sold your all into the relationship and that you sacrificed who you are. Well, don't do that.
Now, some of y'all need to hit pause right now and shout all over the floor, because that happens so much, and you get mad with the other person. I gave my all. Your fault. They didn't ask you to do that. Even if they did, you should not have done it.
Absolutely.
Because the other person is a partner, is a companion.
Right.
They are not intended to replace you.
Right.
And we talk about not sacrificing your hopes and dreams. Most of us have already seen the movie Coming to America. Mm-hmm. We laugh at that scene where Akeem meets his bride to be, and she's like, whatever it is you like. Well, what kind of music do you like? Whatever it is you like. Mm-hmm. And he was getting irritated, like, I want you to have your own likes and dislikes. Absolutely. We laugh at that. It seems so ridiculous because, movies hyperbolize everything and, make fun of it.
But how often does that really happen?
That really happens. Yeah. Well, we yield ourselves to this other person. That's not love. That's insecurity.
It's desperation.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
It's a number of things that really shouldn't be. And we're not saying this to make fun of anyone. It's a serious issue.
It absolutely is.
And here again, I think that falls back into self-esteem, insecurity issues. Mm-hmm. So, don't give up yourself. Don't give up your aspirations. But you've got to work together to share those dreams, those hopes, those goals and so that you become, the two of you meet your goals, and that you help that other individual meet theirs as well.
But in order to not give up your identity, you have to have one.
You gotta have one.
And one of the, I know you used that word thirsty earlier.
Sorry.
People are I'm going to use it again. People are so thirsty now, while they're single, that they're not using it as an opportunity. Your singleness is a gift.
It is.
Use it as an opportunity to establish and pursue your own identity.
Develop.
So that develop is an excellent word. To develop your character, your identity, your plans, your hopes, your dreams. To develop you. Whatever your first name is, you need to look in the mirror and say, I'm developing Romell. I'm developing Damion, And because when you can't lose to someone else what you don't already have in the first place.
Absolutely.
So we're talking about not losing your identity. Part of that is having one. And the other person cannot be it. The dream of being coupled is not it. Your life should be more than just having somebody on Thanksgiving or on Christmas or on Valentine's Day.
Right. Yeah, to take to all the house parties and gatherings with your friends, and to weddings and things like that. I've always found it to be funny, as much as of a wedding guru as I am. I've always found it funny how people just feel obligated that when they go to a wedding that they have to have a date to go with them. You don't have to have a plus one. You can be your own, on your own, for whatever the situation is. Fall in love with yourself first before you get to the point where you want to fall in love with somebody else. If you can't love yourself with this, how are you going to love somebody else fully if you can't fully love yourself?
Jesus made a statement. He said, the two great commands: love God with your whole heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't start with yourself, how can you truly love somebody else?
You can't.
And it starts there, like you said. And part of that, dating somebody else, date yourself. You don't need a date to go to, like you said, a wedding or something. You don't need an entourage to go to the show, to go bowling, to go out to eat.
Right.
I remember the first time I went to a restaurant, it was on a lunch break, but it felt so weird to be there alone. But I realized it's okay to be there with just you. We fear isolation and we fear quiet. We need to stop fearing that, because what we're really fearing is being alone with ourselves.
And I remember I have some friends back home who, like, well, where are you? Oh, I'm at the movies. Let me call you back. Who are you on a date with? Nobody. Or I'm at a restaurant and I'm eating, and I would go to, something more than just Applebee's or Old Charlie's, and they would be like, what are you doing? Well, I'm at a restaurant. Oh, you on a date? I'm sorry. No, I'm by myself. I can talk. Are you serious? I can never do that. Well, why not?
Right.
Self-confidence.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not a cocky person. I don't really think I'm arrogant. I mean, I get, people that don't know me feel like I am. But I really think that self-confidence and self-esteem are two important factors in the gay community that are so low.
Yes.
That, we've got to try to do what we can to build ourselves up without becoming arrogant and puffed up and proud.
We're not talking about the fake stuff.
The fake stuff, not the grandeur and all of that, but we've got to become aware of ourselves, know our limitations, know what we can and can't tolerate, and if those things are something that we need to work on, then let's do that. You've got to know yourself first before you try to get to know someone else.
And through this whole process, and I cannot emphasize this enough, through this whole process of growth, neither one of us are the same person that we were coming into the relationship.
Not at all.
But at the same time, neither one of us have given up ourselves in the relationship.
Sure.
So when we talk about having your own identity, we are not saying to resist change.
Absolutely.
We are not saying to be stubborn and to act like, well, no, that's just not me. Well, it's just who I am. You're supposed to grow, and change is not a bad thing. We're just saying you can't change the core essence of who you are for somebody else to try to make them happy or to try to make a relationship work.
Not asking you to change your values or your morals or your, any of those things that build who you are, but you want to enhance them. They can't be stuck or frozen in a mentality. A lot of times, I think we mentioned this before, how people will, especially as we get a little bit older, a lot of us, when we get over that 35 mark, we get to this point where we've got our own place and our own home, and we got a mortgage and a car, and we graduated from college and got a PhD and all those things, and we're frozen there. And you don't want to be moved. You just feel like you arrived and that's it, and they need to conform to you. No, you need to conform together. So all of those things will not matter in your relationship for the most part at all. Yeah. They could all be lost tomorrow besides your education. The rest of that stuff could be lost tomorrow. But you want to build something together that's of quality, of a standard, something that you all loved and that you cherish together, and not just something that, well, this is mine and this is mine. I mean, come on now. You've got to understand that that's not going to help build a healthy relationship. So don't have your identity be something that's so one-sided because you're so afraid to open up your heart, to open up your trust, to really pour into and be poured into, first and foremost, of course, from God, but to each other. You've got to help encourage each other, to help establish each other, be with each other, and be able to receive that same thing from your other half, your future partner. Those of you that are dating, take it slow, super slow.
Absolutely.
And I can't say that enough. I have a friend who I just got off the phone with right before we started recording who was saying, I didn't even have to mention it to him because I guess because I've said it so much over and over again. His current dating situation is, and he was like, we're taking it super slow. We're taking it super slow. And I was like, are you sure? And he said, yeah, because I know that wasn't his history. But, I understand that sometimes we have to butt our heads and we've got to get it in. Or honestly, I don't think it's just that we have to get it in. We just have to be proven. We don't believe it stinks until it's shoved up our noses. So, but guess what?
So it's all about balance.
Absolutely.
We want identity, but we don't want to tip that scale. It's about having that balance, and that's what brings about a healthy life and a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. I agree with that. So thank you for joining us this week on Identity Crisis. Next week we'll be back again with some other next little tidbit. We won't tell you what it is, so not that it's top secret.
We don't know either.
We don't know either. No, I can't. But continue to send in your emails, your suggestions, your comments. Just a shout out and a hello to everyone who has inboxed us just in this past week alone, and the connections that we've made. God is really doing a miraculous thing in our community, and I am so grateful for it.
Absolutely.
It's everything in His time. A lot of us feel like it's past time, but it's in His time. So you can reach out to us at
From Me to We at judahfirst.org. From Me to We at judahfirst.org. Also on our website at www.judahfirst.org. Facebook, facebook.com/Judah First Ministries, as well as YouTube, youtube.com/Judah First Ministries.
Great. So we'll look for you next week. God bless you. We love you. And we'll see you then.
Bye-bye.